The seconds are out. The crowd is waiting. The boxers are getting ready to battle. Time for another edition of the Shoulder Roll Virtual Boxing Podcast with your presenter, Greg Rashid.
Well, I want to say Swati Krop everyone out there. This is Greg Rashid with another edition of the Shoulder Roll Virtual Boxing Podcast. And no, this is not somebody else. This is me. The mic is working perfectly, and we're going to have a great show as always. If you're new to the program, I'm going to tell you real quickly here that what we do on here, we do fantasy fights. We use different types of games, computer modalities, a little bit of everything to create these fantasy fights. Today's fight is going to be a classic, and it's been requested. I've never done it, but lightweight division is going to be Roberto Durán, Manos de Pedro versus Floyd Mayweather Jr., Money Mayweather. Should be an exciting fight, and I'm using Title Bout 2 PC game to create this great bout. At least I think it's going to be great. And also what we do in this program, too, is that we also talk about what's going on in the world of boxing. We talk about boxing history. And also at the end, we do a little music. That's why we're a boxing variety program. And I want to thank Dixon Young for sitting in last week. He'll be back on again. But I'm here right now. I'm going to have a great program. And I'm in Bangkok. I want to let people know that again. Because some people still think I'm in Denver, but I'm in Bangkok. But right now, we're going to get to the program here with the one and only Sonny Huff. And he'll be our commentator today. So get your favorite beverage and let's have some fun on the Shoulder Roll Virtual Boxing Podcast.
Hello, this is legendary Hall of Famer, the award-winning Sonny Huff, announcing the fight tonight from the Thomas & Mack Center in Vegas between lightweights Roberto Durán and Floyd Mayweather Jr. There is much anticipation in the air for this bout tonight. Listen to this crowd, ladies and gentlemen. The energy inside the Thomas & Mack Center is absolutely electric tonight as we prepare for a dream match for the ages. Two mythical lightweight titans stepping into the same squared circle. Before that bell rings, let's talk about the incredible lightweight history brought into this ring tonight. In one corner, you have Panama's own Manos de Piedra, Roberto Durán. At lightweight, Durán wasn't just the champion, he was an absolute force of nature, dominating the division through the 1970s with an astonishing 62-1 record at 135 pounds. Durán possessed relentless pressure, vicious bodywork, and deceptively brilliant defense inside the pocket. He tore through legendary fighters like Ken Buchanan and Esteban de Jesus, establishing a reign of terror that many consider the greatest lightweight run in boxing history. And in the opposing corner, pretty boy Floyd Mayweather Jr. Before he was the defensive maestro at welterweight, Floyd, at 135 pounds, was a lightning-fast, offensive powerhouse. In his masterclass performance against Diego Corrales and his tactical triumphs over Jose Luis Castillo, Mayweather showcased unmatched hand speed, pinpoint counterpunching, and the shoulder roll defense that rendered standard offense obsolete. Undefeated, sharp, and possessing an elite boxing IQ, Mayweather at lightweight was almost impossible to hit cleanly. Refining the rules for tonight, referee Arthur Donovan is in the center ring with our esteemed judges Ramon Navedo, Jim Moore, and Davy Pearl ringside. The crowd is roaring, the atmosphere is white hot, and the bell is about to sound. Round one. There's the opening bell. Durán storms out immediately, establishing control and stalking Mayweather. Durán unleashes a roaring combination, just misses. He comes right back with a heavy cross, but Floyd ducks under it. Now Durán traps him, letting the hands fly. Bang! A devastating combination connects flush. That got Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s attention early. Durán is cutting off the ring expertly, maneuvering for position, and he's pinned Mayweather right against the near ropes. Floyd spins out masterfully, bringing them back to ring center. But Durán marches right back into the pocket, stepping through a jab to land a thunderous right cross. Oh, Floyd Mayweather Jr. is rocked. His legs stiffen up. Durán smells blood, digging in a brutal uppercut, followed by another sharp, clean uppercut inside. Durán is suffocating him with physical pressure, but referee Arthur Donovan steps in briefly, admonishing Durán for a stray headbutt. Mayweather tries to turn the tide, sliding out and landing a crisp left hook. Durán isn't bothered. He steps back in, misses an uppercut, and ties Floyd up in a tight clinch. Durán misses a trailing cross, clinches again, and they reset to the center of the ring just as the bell sounds to end an explosive first round. Round two underway. Durán comes out aggressive again, sweeping with a hook that misses. They lock up in a quick clinch. Durán looks for a heavy cross, whiffs, and they clinch again. Durán throws an uppercut, but Mayweather reads it. Boom! Floyd counters beautifully with a sharp jab. Mayweather takes the control now, stepping forward, though he misses with a multi-punch combination. Durán tries to make him pay with a counter hook, but Floyd ties him up. Mayweather slides to his left, misses a cross, but comes back with a sleek two-punch combination. He follows up with a straight right cross that catches Durán clean, then lands another partially blocked right. Durán resets, stalking back to the ring center, measuring Floyd, and pop! Durán lands a blinding clean jab right through the guard. Mayweather absorbs it, moves to his right, cuts off the ring, and pins Durán in the near corner. At the clapper, Floyd rips a short, digging uppercut right at the buzzer. A brilliant tactical rebound for Mayweather. Round three. Durán comes out like a man possessed. He steps right into Mayweather's range and fires a jab. Wham! Mayweather's knees buckled. Durán doesn't wait. He follows up with a savage left hook. Floyd is rocking again. Durán is swarming, pushing Floyd backward before clapping into a heavy clinch to smother Floyd's space. Mayweather pushes off, taking control, and snaps off a brilliant rapid-fire combination. Oh, Roberto Durán's knees buckled this time. What a firefight! Floyd misses a follow-up cross, and Durán quickly presses forward, cutting off the canvas and pinning Mayweather against the near ropes. They get tangled inside, referee Donovan moving in as both fighters receive a stern warning for excessive holding. They break. Durán clinches briefly, breaks free, and snaps a heavy two-punch combination. Right before the bell, Durán drives a vicious hook to the body and jaw. That clean shot definitely got Mayweather's attention as the round comes to a close. Round four, into the fourth. Durán comes out firing combinations, missing, while Floyd whips on a counter jab. Floyd steps in with a cross, but Durán counters on the fly with a stiff jab. Mayweather presses on, snapping a jab, driving an uppercut through the guard, and connecting with another straight jab. Durán refuses to back down, wading through the fire to crack Floyd with a thudding hook to the ribs. Durán misses an uppercut. Floyd misses the counter. Mayweather uses his speed, picking his spots, landing a hook on the inside, a fast combination, and a sharp uppercut that lifts Durán's chin. Floyd pulls Durán into a clinch to break the momentum. In the final seconds, Durán breaks free, cracking Mayweather with an uppercut of his own and finishing the round with a solid jab to the face. Round five. Durán aggressively cuts off the ring, backing Floyd straight into the left neutral corner. Durán digs a hard right cross to the body, follows with a jab, and snaps another razor-sharp jab clean through Floyd's defense. They reset in the center of the ring. Durán throws a wide cross that misses. Floyd tries to counter with a combination that fails to land, but Floyd seizes the moment. Mayweather steps around, pinned Durán on the near ropes, and wraps him up in a clinch. They break. Mayweather lands a light jab, and then, out of nowhere, right at the bell, a tremendous combination from Mayweather. Roberto Durán was visibly stunned by that massive sequence right before the bell. Round six, and Mayweather comes out trying to capitalize on that momentum. Floyd fires a blistering combination that lands, then drives an uppercut straight up the middle. That got Durán's attention. Floyd lands another quick combination, but here comes Roberto Durán. Durán completely ignores the incoming fire, steps inside, and explodes with a terrifying uppercut. Oh, my goodness! Floyd Mayweather almost goes down. He is knocked backward into the far ropes. Durán misses a flurry, but Mayweather counters with a desperate uppercut. Durán doesn't care. He marches right through it and unleashes a monster hook. Floyd is knocked into the near ropes again. And look at Floyd's face. A major nasty cut has opened up under Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s left eye. Blood is pouring. Durán is a shark in the water now. He explodes with a ruthless uppercut. Mayweather's knees buckle again. Durán follows up with a devastating straight right cross. Floyd is on sponge legs. His knees buckle again. Durán unleashes another massive right cross. Mayweather is nearly knocked out of the ring, bashed hard into the near ropes. Durán digs a bone-chilling body cross, snaps another brutal hook to the wounded eye. Floyd is defenseless, battered against the ropes. Arthur Donovan has seen enough. Arthur Donovan leaps in and calls a halt to this fight. It is all over. At 2:18 of the sixth round, Arthur Donovan saves Mayweather from further punishment. The winner by technical knockout, Roberto Manos de Piedra Durán. What a legendary, ferocious performance from the Panamanian icon. I will now return you to our Bangkok studios. This is legendary Hall of Famer Sonny Huff. Until we meet again over these airwaves. And remember, it is always a great day when it is sunny.
All right, Sonny. Thank you for that. That was a good one. I could see that happening. I could see Mayweather's corner complaining that the fight was stopped too early. But Durán, I mean, he was a beast at lightweight. One of my all-time favorite fighters. I've met him a couple of times, interviewed him. And he was something. I don't think Floyd, at his peak, and Floyd was something too at lightweight. I don't think he could deal with Durán. Because the one thing that's missing in that simulation we just did, with Durán with his shoulders, they did mention a headbutt, but elbows, he did everything to beat you. He was something. I hope you like that. Durán versus Mayweather. And maybe he'll do another one with Durán and Mayweather at welterweight. If you want it. But anyway, I'll get to a little boxing history right now with Felicia. And she'll talk about the boxing history this week on the Shoulder Roll Virtual Boxing Podcast.
What is up, my absolute favourite boxing nuts? It is your resident boxing maven, Felicia, bringing you your weekly fix of sweet science history for August 9th through August 15th. Get ready, because we've got a legendary lineup of iconic knockouts, undisputed glory, and historic firsts this week. August 9th, 2012. Nicola Adams threw down in London and carved her name into the history books forever, becoming the very first female Olympic boxing champion after taking home the gold. Talk about a trailblazing icon. August 10th, 1949. The legendary Cincinnati Cobra, Ezzard Charles, put on an absolute clinic to retain his world heavyweight title, stopping Gus Lesnovich cold with a ruthless knockout. August 11th, 1990. Sweet Pea, Pernell Whitaker did what he did best, pure defensive perfection. He completely dismantled Juan Nazario to collect the WBA, WBC, and IBF belts, cementing his reign as the undisputed lightweight champion of the world. August 12, 2000. The real deal, Evander Holyfield made history again. He edged out John Ruiz for the WBA heavyweight strap, making him the only heavyweight warrior in boxing history to win a piece of the world title a staggering 4 times. August 13, 2011. Internet street fighting legend Kimbo Slice laced up the big gloves for his professional boxing debut, and it didn't last long. Kimbo starched James Wade in a lightning-fast 17 seconds flat. Blink, and you missed it. August 14, 2010. A wild, light heavyweight clash between Jean Pascal and Chad Dawson came to a sudden dramatic end when an accidental headbutt brought out the scorecards, giving Pascal a hard-fought technical decision victory. August 15, 2009. The timeless Roy Jones Jr. reminded everyone why "y'all must have forgot" as he put on a masterclass, stopping a tough Jeff Lacey in the 10th round. That is your history fix for the week, fight fans. Before I let you go, I just have to say a huge, heartfelt thank you. I genuinely read every single email you guys send in, and your energy, warmth, and passion keep my fighting spirit alive every single day. I love you guys so, so much. Keep throwing those punches, stay safe, and I'll catch you next week.
Thank you so much for that, Felicia. And, I met Montel Griffin. It was at the Denver Coliseum. My man, DeVarrell Williamson was fighting. And he was there, and they introduced me to Montel. I didn't even ask him anything about this. The first thing he says to me is that, I slipped. Floyd didn't knock me out. I slipped. And the ref stopped the fight. Anyway. Oh, sorry, Felicia. Oh, you have something else. She wants to talk about the longest boxing match ever. And we're going to get to that right now on the Shoulder Roll Virtual Boxing Podcast.
The street lamps along Royal Street flickered in the damp pre-dawn mist, casting long shadows across the entrance of the Olympic Club. Inside, the air was thick with the ghost of cigar smoke, stale bourbon, and 7 hours of human agony. It was the morning of April 7th, 1893, and the quiet inside the arena was absolute. Earlier that evening, 200 light bulbs illuminated a packed house of 3,000 screaming fans. The lightweight championship of the South was on the line, along with a $2,500 purse, a fortune in silver. Local hero Andy Bowen walked into the ring with easy confidence, while Texas pugilist Jack Burke met his glare with cold, quiet fury. When the first bell rang at 9 p.m., the fury was kinetic. By round 14, the canvas was already mapped with sweat and blood. Bowen landed a crushing right hook that sent Burke staggering into the ropes, driving the crowd into a deafening frenzy. It had all the makings of an instant legend, a lightning-fast exhibition of bare-knuckle grit. Then midnight arrived, and time began to stretch. By round 36, the roar of the crowd had withered into an anxious murmur. Burke's hands had swollen into grotesque, useless mitts. The fragile metacarpal bones inside his skin shattered from the impact of Bowen's skull. Bowen's left eye was sliced open, swollen completely shut. Yet neither man yielded. They circled each other in the haze, throwing tentative jabs that lacked the strength to finish the job, but carried just enough pride to keep going. By 2 o'clock in the morning, round 72, the arena looked like a graveyard. The mayor had slipped out the back door. Half the spectators had abandoned their wooden seats, while those who remained slouched in their coats, asleep or staring in numb disbelief. The only sound in the building was the solitary ticking of a pocket watch and the laboured, ragged breathing of 2 broken athletes. Referee John Duffy spent the breaks leaning heavily against the top rope, his eyes glazed with exhaustion. In the centre of the square, Bowen fell forward into Burke, the two men locking arms in a desperate clinch, less a tactic and more like two drowning men holding each other above water. At 4:10 a.m., the bell chimed for round 105. Outside, the crickets of the French Quarter chirped in the dark. Bowen summoned the last atom of strength in his body and threw a wild, desperate swing. He missed by 2 feet, his own momentum throwing him flat onto his face. He dragged himself to his knees, hauled his battered frame up at the count of 9, and turned to face his opponent. Burke didn't advance. He couldn't. He simply stood there in his corner, waiting. The violence had vanished, replaced by an eerie, shared endurance. Finally, at 4:34 a.m., the bell rang to end round 110. 7 hours and 19 minutes had elapsed. When the call went out for round 111, neither fighter moved. They sat on their wooden stools, hands limp, bodies utterly spent. Burke could no longer close his fingers. Bowen could no longer lift his elbows. Referee Duffy walked to the middle of the ring and raised both of his hands into the quiet air, calling a halt to the longest boxing match in recorded history. Declared a no contest, the purse would be split down the middle. But as the first light of dawn washed over New Orleans, victory was no longer the point. The only thing left to do was survive the long walk back to the dressing rooms.
Man, that was really nice, Felicia. You know, I'm working on, with Felicia, doing an audio book of various fights, legendary fights and all. And ever do that? Wouldn't you like to be in your car listening to that, or having your buds on running or something, and, you know, at the gym, and you hear her talking about various boxing tales and all, you know, things from the history of boxing. I'm compiling that. We're working on that with Felicia. That really was a good one. I really like that. You know, we'll add a little music to it and make it even more dramatic. Really like that. Really like that one. And I have to say this. I think that somebody's going to get a ridiculous idea to have some sort of MMA boxing style event where two guys fight to the finish. I know it's coming. Might be at the White House. Who knows? But anyway, let's get to a little debate here with Malcolm and Ella. They're talking about the upcoming, this is going to be August 22nd, the Teofimo Lopez Jr. fight versus Rolly Romero. So let's hear what they have to say about that on the Shoulder Roll Virtual Boxing Podcast.
Oh, absolutely. Welcome to The Debate. So, looking ahead to August 22nd, we have two of boxing's most explosive and honestly polarizing stars stepping into the ring at the T-Mobile Arena in Vegas.
Oh, absolutely.
And I mean, they're stepping in there knowing that the loser, well, they might never fight for a world title again. It really is the ultimate put-up or shut-up scenario.
The stakes genuinely could not be higher. I mean, we are looking at a career crossroads that is essentially existential for both guys. You lose this fight, you become a gatekeeper.
Exactly.
Your days of headlining pay-per-views are over. You are fighting for your elite life in this sport, frankly.
Right. So to establish the facts here, we are talking about the WBA Welterweight Championship. You've got the defending champion, Rolando "Rolly" Romero, standing at 17 wins, 2 losses, 13 knockouts. And he's making his first title defense after, I think it's a 15-month layoff.
Yeah, 15 months. That's a long time out of the ring.
It is. And facing him is the challenger, former 2-division world champion, Teofimo "The Takeover" Lopez. He holds a record of 22-2 with 13 knockouts, and he is making his highly anticipated debut at 147 pounds. Which brings us to the central question we are exploring today. Who wins this fight and why?
It is literally the question every boxing gym in the world is arguing over right now.
It really is. And, you know, from my side of the discussion, I am firmly taking the position that Teofimo Lopez will emerge victorious.
Okay, bold, but let's hear it.
Well, if you actually look at the mechanics, his world-class pedigree, his blistering hand speed, and the undeniable fact that he will finally have a rejuvenated gas tank without that grueling weight cut to 140 pounds, I just think he has the absolute technical superiority to dismantle the champion. And I mean, the odds makers agree with me. He's sitting as high as a minus 275 favorite right now.
Right. Well, and I'm taking the exact opposite side of that line. I am picking Rolando Romero to retain his title.
Really?
Yes, absolutely. I think the betting public and honestly a really large portion of the boxing media are drastically underestimating Romero's evolution. Like, under a master trainer, Romero has quietly turned into the exact stylistic kryptonite that has historically exploited every single one of Teofimo Lopez's fundamental flaws.
I mean, let's get into those mechanics, though, because I think people are misinterpreting recent history. When critics look at Lopez's recent wide unanimous decision loss to Shakur Stevenson back in January, they see a fighter in decline.
Because he looked terrible.
He did, but you have to view that performance through the lens of profound physical depletion. By his own admission, and honestly, you could just see it in his legs, Lopez was completely drained trying to squeeze down to 140 pounds. Moving up to welterweight isn't just, a casual change in scenery. It fundamentally restores his biomechanics. At 147 pounds, he is going to have the lateral movement, the explosive twitch reflexes, and this newly implemented jab-heavy volume strategy to just completely outpoint Romero. And let's be honest, Romero is notoriously reliant on a very, very low offensive output. Lopez just has too many tools in the toolbox.
Right. I hear you on the pedigree, and I hear the weight cut argument, which, trust me, we definitely need to unpack in a minute. But we have to evaluate the fighters as they actually exist in the ring today. Not, the theoretical perfect version of them.
Fair enough.
Romero's recent evolution makes him the exact archetype of fighter that gives Lopez absolute nightmares.
You're talking about his patience, I assume?
I'm talking about his patience, yes. His defensive responsibility, and most importantly, his total refusal to lead. Look at the historical data. Lopez struggles profoundly against patient, defensive-minded counterpunchers who simply refuse to lead the dance.
Well, sure, against certain styles.
We saw it against Sandor Martin. We saw it against Jermaine Ortiz. And yes, we saw it against Shakur Stevenson. Now, look at what Romero did under Ismael Salas. When Romero upset Ryan Garcia last May, he didn't brawl. He utilized a disciplined, tight, high guard, remained entirely patient, and just let Garcia make all the mistakes.
He did show maturity there, I'll give you that.
Exactly. Romero is a natural, heavy-handed 147-pounder with a 76% knockout ratio. He doesn't need to throw 80 punches around. He just needs Lopez to make his characteristic lunging mistakes.
But see, that assumes Lopez is going to fight the exact same reckless fight he fought at 140. Let's look closely at what's actually going to happen in the center of the ring. You bring up Romero's patience, but patience is only a weapon if your opponent is fighting recklessly enough to walk right into a trap.
And Lopez always does.
Now, not this time. Lopez has completely restructured his camp. He's literally utilizing Manny Pacquiao's historic welterweight run as a functional blueprint for this specific bout.
Okay, but a blueprint requires the right archetype to execute it. When Lopez initiates his offense against fighters who refuse to engage, he has this deeply ingrained biomechanical habit of leaving his base behind. Like if you watch his feet, they stay planted, but he lunges forward with his upper torso.
He does have a tendency to reach when he gets frustrated, yes.
Right. He commits his weight so far forward over his lead knee, and his chin just sits there, dangerously exposed in the air. He wants to land that spectacular highlight reel right hand so badly that it compromises his structural integrity.
But Romero isn't a master counterpuncher.
He doesn't have to be. Romero isn't the wild, crude slugger he was 3 years ago either. Think of Romero's new defense like a bear trap. A bear trap doesn't have to chase you around the woods.
Okay, I like the analogy.
It just has to be built solidly enough to snap shot when you inevitably step in the wrong place. Romero is going to maintain that tight guard, force Lopez to punch around the elbows, which, by the way, makes Lopez lunge even further. And the moment Lopez's chin crosses that center line, the trap snaps shut. Romero plants his feet and fires a short, explosive counter right on the button.
I see why you think that, but let me give you a different perspective on how this specific tactical dynamic actually plays out. You're comparing Romero's patience to Shakur Stevenson's patience, and I think that is a massive false equivalency.
How so?
They both completely neutralized Lopez by waiting. Because of how they waited, yes, Stevenson fought a patient fight.
But Stevenson is a defensive savant who actively scores while he is retreating. If you look at the stats from that fight, Stevenson landed 165 punches to Lopez's 72.
Right.
He was constantly touching Lopez, constantly jabbing, constantly picking up points. Romero, on the other hand, relies on a very static, low-output high guard. He literally just sits there.
He's setting the trap.
But if Romero just stands there and waits like a bear trap, he is quite literally handing the rounds over to Lopez's superior foot speed and activity. Patience is not the same as points. You cannot win a decision by just waiting 12 rounds for a mistake that a newly disciplined Lopez might not even make.
But you're assuming Lopez has suddenly developed the discipline of a volume boxer, which goes against his entire professional psychology. He is an explosive counterpuncher by nature. What happens when you force a natural counterpuncher to become the primary aggressor?
They adjust.
No, they become incredibly frustrated. If Romero keeps his output low, he denies Lopez the very openings he needs to counter. We saw this exact scenario in the Sonder-Martin fight. Martin gave him nothing to counter. Lopez was forced to chase, he grew visibly frustrated, his technique deteriorated, and he started making wild mistakes.
But Ismael
Salas has Romero completely comfortable with fighting at a slow, ugly, boring pace.
Wait, so you think Romero is perfectly fine losing rounds on the cards just to set the trap?
Absolutely. Romero doesn't care if the crowd boos. He cares about landing the one fight-changing hook. And with his power, that power is the ultimate equalizer against a fighter who gets frustrated and lunges. He can afford to lose 4 rounds if he catches Lopez clean in the 5th.
But that is exactly where the Pacquiao blueprint neutralizes the trap. Lopez isn't planning to lunge with single power shots to the head. He isn't hunting for one right hand. He is planning to use constant lateral movement and high punch volume to literally blind Romero.
Blinding him isn't going to stop the counter.
It is if he can't see it coming. If you throw combinations at a static high guard, you obscure the opponent's vision. Romero won't be able to see the counter opportunity because there will constantly be a glove in his face. Lopez has reportedly been throwing thousands of jabs in sparring to the point where his left shoulder is exhausted.
Okay.
He intends to dictate the geography of the ring. If he's throwing 5 punches to Romero's 1, the judges have to award Lopez the rounds. That forces Romero to eventually abandon the high guard, open up to try and win rounds, and that is when Lopez gets to do what he does best, counterpunch an aggressive opponent.
Okay, but executing that high-volume darting strategy requires an immense, almost superhuman amount of stamina. You have to be bouncing on your toes for 36 minutes, which brings us directly to the physical reality of the 147-pound weight limit.
Exactly, which is the single biggest advantage for Lopez in this matchup. Leaving the junior welterweight division is going to completely restore his dormant punching power and, more importantly, his physical strength.
You really think 7 pounds makes that much of a difference for a guy who just got dominated?
It's not just a number on a scale. It's a biological reality. When a fighter is struggling to make weight, especially a 28-year-old whose frame has expanded since he was 24, those last few pounds are pure water weight.
Sure.
And where does that water come from? It depletes the fluid around your brain and in your joints. That's why a shot you could easily take at your natural walking weight suddenly turns your legs to jelly when your weight drained. Your shock absorbers are gone.
I mean, I understand the science.
By fighting at his natural walking weight of 147, Lopez is getting his shock absorbers back. He is going to have the muscular endurance in his legs to maintain that high-volume darting strategy for all 12 rounds. His combinations will be dangerous in the championship rounds because his legs won't be dead.
I'm sorry, but I just don't buy that. Let me tell you why. Because we have heard this exact same narrative, practically word for word, from Lopez's camp before.
Every fighter struggles with weight as they age, though.
Yes, but it's the constant shifting of the goalposts with him. After he lost to George Kambosos Jr. at lightweight, his entire camp blamed the weight cut. They swore that 135 pounds was killing him and that moving up to 140 pounds would finally unleash the ultimate version of Teofimo Lopez.
And he did beat Josh Taylor at 140.
He did, but now, after losing to Stevenson at 140, they are recycling the exact same excuse. Oh, 140 is killing him, wait until you see him at 147. At a certain point, we have to acknowledge that the weight is not the primary issue. The issue is his inability to adjust to elite defensive timing.
Physiological fact that cutting weight diminishes punch resistance.
Okay, even if I grant you that his punch resistance improves slightly by not cutting water, moving up to 147 pounds introduces a terrifying new variable for Lopez. He is now facing natural, authentic welterweight power. Romero isn't a blown-up lightweight. He is a true, heavy-handed 147-pounder. And, this isn't just theoretic analysis. We have the sparring lore between these two.
Oh, we're bringing up gym rumors now? I mean, come on.
It's relevant context. The rumors from their sparring days, back when they were both coming up, claim that Romero actually broke Lopez's nose with a single shot.
Sparring is sparring.
Now, Lopez tries to downplay Romero's skills to the media, but physical trauma like that, it lingers in a fighter's subconscious. When you felt a man's power and it literally broke bone, you remember it. We have to genuinely question if Lopez's chin, which has only ever been tested at lower weight classes, can withstand a clean, flush power shot from a natural welterweight who possesses legitimate one-punch knockout power.
Look, sparring rumors from years ago when both of these guys were essentially kids figuring out the sport hardly dictate the mechanics of a world championship fight today. I mean, guys wear 16-ounce gloves in sparring, noses get broken from weird angles, not just raw power.
Still, it's a factor.
Sparring is for testing limits, not for crowning victors. Furthermore, Lopez's chin has held up against some of the hardest hitters in the lower divisions. And let's not pretend Romero's an indestructible tank either. His chin is not made of granite. He was violently stopped by Gervonta Davis, who is naturally a much smaller man than Lopez. If Lopez gets his explosive power back at 147, Romero is in just as much danger of waking up staring at the arena lights.
The difference isn't just the chin, though. The difference is how these two men now process danger. Which frankly brings us to what I think is the most fascinating disparity in this entire matchup. The massive chasm in the mental state of the fighters and the competency of the men guiding them in the corners.
Ah, right. You're talking about Ismael Salas versus Teofimo Lopez Sr.
Exactly. You simply cannot analyze this fight without looking at who is giving the instructions. Ismael Salas has been an absolute revelation for Romero. Salas didn't just teach Romero how to hold his hands up in a high guard. He fundamentally rewired the kid's processing speed. Salas has this great phrase. He talks about how he organized the office of Romero's mind.
It really is a great quote.
It's brilliant because it's exactly what happened. He took a chaotic, highly reactive, emotionally volatile brawler and taught him emotional regulation. We saw it perfectly when Romero dropped Ryan Garcia in the second round. The old Romero, he would have smelled blood, rushed in wildly to get the highlight reel finish, and likely gotten caught by a blind counterhook.
Yeah, he used to be very reckless.
But the new Romero, under Salas, he stayed perfectly calm, retreated to his guard, managed the distance, and stuck to the game plan. That kind of psychological discipline is terrifying for an opponent who relies on you making a mistake.
Salas is undeniably a brilliant tactician. I won't argue that. But we cannot dismiss Teofimo Lopez Sr. simply because his style is unorthodox and, yes, emotionally volatile. Lopez Sr. gets heavily criticized by the boxing public because his instructions sound more like motivational screaming than tactical micro-adjustments. Everyone points to the Stevenson fight as proof of his ineffectiveness.
Because it was. When Lopez needed technical advice to cross the distance, his dad was just screaming at him for a knockout.
But let's look at the actual resume of this corner. This exact father-son duo conquered Vasily Lomachenko. They beat one of the greatest amateur and professional fighters of our generation. You do not do that by accident. And you do not do that without a deep, intrinsic understanding of how to manage a fight at the highest level.
Come on, they did that with the help of Joey Gamache in camp. Gamache was the one who actually diagnosed Lomachenko's angles and built the tactical framework. When they don't have that secondary tactical voice in the gym, Lopez Sr. defaults to raw emotion. Against a disciplined counterpuncher like Romero, raw emotion is a massive liability. It leads to the exact lunging, overcommitted mistakes that Romero's bear trap is waiting for.
But you're viewing that emotional volatility as a weakness, when historically it is the absolute fuel that drives Lopez's greatest performances.
Lopez is a fighter who thrives in chaos. He thrives when his back is against the wall, when the boxing public doubts him, and when he feels fundamentally disrespected. That's a dangerous game to play.
It is, but it works for him. He felt disrespected before the Lomachenko fight, and he put on a masterclass. He felt disrespected before the Josh Taylor fight, when everyone said he was washed up, and he completely dominated. Now he's coming off a humiliating loss to Stevenson, he's stepping into a new division, and he's being told his father is a detriment to his career. That creates a psychological pressure cooker, and that pressure cooker produces the absolute best, most hyper-focused version of Teofimo Lopez. He isn't going to be reckless. He's going to be ruthlessly dialed in to prove the entire world wrong. Or the pressure cooker explodes. The problem with relying on emotional volatility to fuel your performance is that it requires a compliant opponent to work. You need someone willing to stand in the fire with you. Romero's mature, patient style is explicitly designed to diffuse emotion. It's designed to make the fight incredibly boring if necessary, just to capitalize on the exact moment Lopez loses his patience. If Lopez comes out looking to prove a point, looking to secure a spectacular knockout to silence all the critics, he plays right into Salas's trap.
It is a phenomenal psychological chess match, no doubt. So, let's bring this down to our final summaries. From my perspective, when you weigh all the variables, the outcome leans heavily toward the challenger. Teofimo Lopez's world-class pedigree, his revived stamina and shock absorption at his natural weight of 147 pounds, and his commitment to a high-volume jab strategy will overwhelm the inactive champion. Romero's strategy of waiting behind a high guard is just going to fail against a fighter who is actively moving his head, changing angles, and firing blinding combinations. Lopez will dictate the pace, blind Romero with volume, and secure a wide, undeniable decision victory to become a three-division world champion.
And, I am not backing off my prediction here. The champion retains his belt. Lopez's historical, heavily documented inability to effectively fight patient counterpunchers will absolutely be his undoing. When you combine that with Romero's natural welterweight power and the disciplined, highly organized trap instituted by Ismail Salas, the stylistic matchup is just too heavily skewed in Romero's favor. Romero doesn't need to match Lopez's punch stats. He just needs to manage the physical distance and wait for Lopez to inevitably get frustrated and lunge forward with his chin exposed. Romero will successfully defend his belt by landing a fight-changing counter that Lopez simply cannot absorb at this weight class.
I think regardless of where we stand on the winner, we can both completely agree that this entire fight hinges on one fundamental mechanical concept: distance control, and specifically the battle of the jab. In his loss to Shakur Stevenson, Lopez landed a grand total of 16 jabs over 12 rounds. If he replicates that abysmal lead-hand performance, he cannot control the center of the ring, and he will walk right into Romero's power.
Oh, absolutely. If Lopez cannot establish that jab as a blinding tool, as a rangefinder early in the first few rounds, he will be forced to leap across the distance to land his power shots. And if he leaps, the bear trap snaps shut. Romero will catch him. It all comes down to whether Lopez has truly internalized the discipline required to pump that jab round after round, or if his ego and the pressure cooker force him to hunt for a highlight reel knockout.
It is a genuinely compelling stylistic clash, and as we said at the top, the legacy consequences for whoever comes up short are severe. You can map out the physics of the hand speed, the punch resistance, and the training camps all you want, but until that bell rings, the tactical landscape remains wonderfully, unpredictably murky. All we can do is watch the collision to see whose reality holds up under the lights.
It's a storm of variables, really. Speed versus patience, volume versus power. Only one man is going to walk out of that arena with the title.
We leave it to you, the listener, to form your own conclusions on how these styles will mesh when the bell rings. Thank you for joining us as we unpack the mechanics and the psychology of this fascinating championship bout. There is always more to explore in the material, and we invite you to dig deeper into the histories of these two fighters. We will see you next time.
Thank you so much, Malcolm and Ella, for that report. I'm wavering. One day I say Raleigh, the next day I say Teofimo. I actually think it's going to be a draw. I think it's going to be a draw. I'm looking forward to that fight. I know you are too. But anyway, we're going to get to the music portion of our program now. And we're going to do a new one from Corey Barker. And this is Working on the Shoulder Roll Virtual Boxing Podcast.
You know I'm working. You know I'm Mix Missy, Erica, Incense, and Prince, product of joy, magic, and muscle. Van McCoy with the hustle. We've been working. Circle, smallest pinky rings. My people play their position. Puzzle pieces complete the vision. Yeah, we've been working like the Energizer vibe non-stop. Bad bunnies drive to the drum line now. We've been working, We've been working, We've been working, Yeah, we've been working, Yeah, we've been. Last night we sent our sorrows to the stars. Took our fears out to the forest and we left them out to ride. Dragged them to the desert, let the vultures pick them dry. Sent our secrets to the sky. Sent our secrets to the sky. Last night I went to build up my rocket ship. Took a trip through the stars. Sent my secrets to Mars. Pulled up right off the Milky Way, then I put it in bar. Told my son I'ma see him as soon as Jupiter rise. See, we too fly for the function, so we kick it in the cosmos. Too high for the humble, hit that hit till the high slow. Highs on the prize like race horses and blinders. Yeah, yeah, we got no fear. Yeah, Mix Missy, Erica, Incense, and Prince, product of joy, magic, and muscle. Van McCoy with the hustle. We've been working. Circle, smallest pinky rings. My people play their position. Puzzle pieces complete the vision. Yeah, we've been working like the Energizer vibe non-stop. Bad bunnies drive to the drum line now. We've been working, We've been working, Yeah, we've been working, Yeah, we've been. Last night I took my pen and my pencil and took a trip out the universe. Verses sweeter than cinnamon. Rehearse and repeat my verses till they stuck in me insulin. Kill it, I hearse, I work, I bust my legs in the interim. Chasing sky higher vibes, yeah. By all means, tryna flex like Hot 97. By all means, triple threat, Malcolm X. Hey, by all means, can't stop till I got the top spot right next to Missy, Erica, Incense, and Prince, product of joy, magic, and muscle.
All right, I almost didn't get back on the air because I wanted to listen to that again. But anyway, that was Adrian De Leon out of California, and that's Easy With You. And before that, we did Working by Corey Barker on the Shoulder Roll Virtual Boxing Podcast. Hope you enjoyed the music as well as the fight we had today, the Durán versus Mayweather Jr. fight, the history that we had with Felicia, the Rolly Romero and Teofimo Lopez fight coming up, the debate about that. Hope you enjoyed the show. And I forgot the beginning, but I got to thank everyone who listens in, especially the folks that listen every Sunday afternoon at 3 p.m. Mountain Time on KUHSDenver.com, created by the one and only Henry Archuleta. I want to say hi to all my friends in the Colorado region. I'm coming back there to visit. I keep saying that I'll be back there. And also, I want to say hi to the new folks that are listening in Singapore. All right. And all I can say, also, we have some folks that, despite what's going on, the war and all, we got some people listening in Ukraine. It's really amazing. But anyway, it's Greg Rashid again. Go in love and go in peace. We'll see you next time on the Shoulder Roll Boxing Podcast. And do something in your community to make this a better place, this big blue ball that we live on. Do what you can to make it a better place. Bring some peace to the community wherever you are. But we'll see you next time on the Shoulder Roll Virtual Boxing Podcast. If you got any requests for authors, fights, music, let me know. Wherever you listen to this program, whatever platform you're listening to, just drop me a line, as so many people do. But go in love and go in peace. See you next time on the Shoulder Roll Virtual Boxing Podcast.
Thanks for tuning in. Please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this podcast. Please become a member at patreon.com under the title Ringside Fantasy Fights and News. See you next time.